Give me a thumbs up out there if you guys can hear me. Thank you guys, appreciate that. Just like always, we'll give a couple minutes to let everyone get on, and we'll start a couple minutes, 2, 3, probably 3 after 5. So if you've got any early questions or things that are out there outside of the continuous learning or just in general, again, throw that in the chat box. I'll do my best to keep up with that. If I miss something and I haven't addressed it, just make sure you kind of throw it back up again, and I'll kind of follow along to do my best with that. Hope everyone is enjoying Sunday. The sun tried to peek out a little bit, but I think the next couple of days we're going to be back to some better weather. So looking forward to that. I'm going to grab one link before we get started because I'm going to throw that up for you. Again, we'll start in about another minute. In the meantime, this link will be very important for you moving forward. And I'll talk a little bit about that here in just a second. All right, again, we'll go ahead and get started. First and foremost, thank you very much for taking the time to join here this evening. One thing I do want to reiterate as you're watching this and going through, whether that be Facebook or, again, one of the things we're going to talk about later on is a new district YouTube site that we're going to have available to upload these videos along with instructional stuff that's going to be coming to your students as well. Again, that'll be something that we'll kind of go through, but I want to begin by thanking each and every one of you for taking time out of your Sunday to be here this evening. One of the things that we did mail out on Friday was a letter that will also be available. And this is probably the first and foremost thing I want to make sure everyone knows, and it's a pinned comment on this thread, is the actual website for our continuous learning plan. That'll be very important to you. There'll be information that's available there that includes the message letter to your parents. That'll have downloads available for all of our students in case you don't get a packet. And again, just everything that you can kind of need surrounding this will be housed in that one area. And so again, it's on our website. If you go to caney.com, if you look at the top menu right at the top, you'll see continuous learning. That'll take you straight there. It's also under a couple other links that we've placed around that'll all route you to one site. And again, we kind of wanted to have that as our, we know a lot of people utilize social media as well. But again, that'll be where that's housed as far as information that you may be asking about or questions that may come up. So again, if you haven't had that or you don't know where our homepage is, it's really simple, just www.caney.com. And again, right at the top of the menu, you'll see that continuous learning. You'll pop on there and that'll take you to some great information I'm going to go over. Don't try to download or tell me that that's incorrect right now, because none of the links are active, and that's for a reason. Tomorrow is when that packet goes out. I'll begin uploading those links throughout the day, and it'll be live about probably midday tomorrow. So again, as you go through that, that'll be important for you to be able to utilize and is a good resource in case you have something come up where you lose your packet, where you need an extra one, things of that nature. At least it'll be available there for everybody. And you'll see that's extremely comprehensive, that goes through. And first and foremost, again, we're going to be learning this together. As we go through it, again, we've spent some time. We got together as a continuous learning group. We talked about how we were going to address the best needs for our students here in Caney, and we're hoping that we've done that. But we also realize that we're going to need to make adjustments, and I can promise you that we'll have a survey that we'll send out at the beginning of next week to get feedback from the community and from students about how things are going, what we can adjust, and we'll make sure that we do those things appropriately as we look at our next 2-week cycle and then our final 3rd-week cycle as we go through. So again, this plan as we go through again is 3 2-week cycles, and this is our first one that'll start on Monday. So the letter that went home, and that's what I'm going to kind of go over with tonight, just some generic things that go along with that. I will have another one of these events to follow up with questions that may come out, because I realize that you need to see the packet, you need to get into it, and then you need to be able to come back with those questions. But one great thing that we have utilized that's separate from everything else, you can email at any time, pupnation@caney.com. So that's a new website or a new email that we set up specifically for questions. Again, I encourage you as you go through and you see this packet, start with your teachers, go to your principal. But again, pupnation@caney.com is that generic questions that are coming up that you may want to have addressed. And again, we'll filter that to the correct person or answer it straightforward if we're able to do that. But again, that's a great resource to go to, and that's one that we've set up that'll be available for the public to utilize as well. So this week, again, as we've kind of developed that packet and got ready, and first and foremost, before we get rolling too far, I have to give a big shout out and a thank you to Jane Stevenson. She's done a great job preparing and assembling those as we go through. Again, we only have the one machine that can bind it and go through. So that's all done by hand. And I can't thank her enough for taking the time to make sure that that's ready for our community. So if you see her around, or if you're friends with her on Facebook, send her a message, let her know how much you appreciate her preparing all that and getting those all assembled and ready. As we begin, a clear message that I want to remind all families, and this is in my letter as we go through, is that we don't want anyone to be frustrated, overwhelmed. We know there's going to be struggles that go on through this. What I would simply remind you is to skip that activity or that thing that may be holding you up. Our teachers, what's nice is they're going to be available for you as we go through this. And we're going to be in contact with you guys throughout this process to make it as painless as possible. Although we know, again, this is unprecedented for everyone, but we're very mindful of the activities and the things that we're sending home for our Pub Nation family as we go through that. So nuts and bolts as we go through this plan and things to think about. All of our teachers will have designated office hours, and that'll be posted on our website. And what I mean by that is they're going to be available regardless, whether it be through email or contact that you already have available. But what we've done specifically for our staff is I've asked them to have dedicated hours, one in the morning and one in the evening, because we understand that individuals still may be working, and that may be the best time to contact them. where they're able to basically respond immediately to an email or things that go along with that. So think of those office hours where they're going to be present, where they're going to be available, where they're going to be right then immediately. They're going to be there throughout. That's just the way that they are. But again, those are those specific hours that you can rely on, that if you have a quick email or a question or need to get a hold of them, that they're going to be designated and ready to answer immediately as we go through that. And again, there'll be a morning and an AM and a PM session for that as we go through. The big thing and the guidance on there that we put on there based on the state is to remember when we build this packet there, and it's going to really be, I guess if I had to narrow it, maybe 3 camps, but I'm going to say 2. The first one, this is way too much work. This is too much. We don't know how to get through there. It's too much, and I don't know what to do. And the other side of it is going to be, it's not enough. I can't believe that this is all that you sent. How are we going to be able to get, this isn't enough. But we've tried to, again, focus on what the state's given us, what guidelines. When you look at that, and there are specific time requirements that they were trying to adhere to. For our pre-K and K, it's 30 minutes when we look at that with an activity. And again, when we look at that overall, this is based on what they've researched, the state's telling us, what the entire great state of Kansas is working towards. And then again, it tiers up as we go through there with K through 1 at 45, 2nd through 3rd at 60, 4th and 5th at 90, and then 6 through 12 at 30 minutes per teacher, with basically a max of what we said at 3 hours a day. And we know that that's a lot. We've actually cut down on that as our philosophy within our continuous learning plan for this first packet. We know there's going to be hiccups. We're going to get through it together. But again, that time on there is purposeful. And the activities that we're doing, again, are going to be very meaningful. They're going to bring back information that students have had. And that's really what we're trying to do, is let them work through these activities independently. They're going to be able to basically recall and go through some of that. We know that parents are going to have to help and assist a little bit, but the reality is that we've designed these activities in this packet to basically let our students run with this, and we know that they're going to be successful because they have a solid foundation from an amazing school district. There's no one that's going to be more prepared when we look at that and when we focus, again, because we know our kids intimately, we know how to work with them, and we'll be in contact with you as we go through this again and adjust and make every one of our kids here in Caney. So the first week, again, to remind you, the biggest thing, and I'll go back to this again, if you have general questions, pupnation@caney.com. Email your teachers, reach out to your principal, myself. Again, we're all going to be available and go through this and help you. We don't want to leave anyone out there. And again, as it's delivered, and I'll speak to that now, our packets will be delivered along our seamless summer option route, so the food service routes that's there. That's not the only way that you can get your packet. And so again, we'll have them underneath the overhang at the high school as well. And our packets are only for K through 6. And again, as we discussed, 7 through 12 will have their option where they'll be able to contact their teacher, go through Google Classroom, and look at the virtual side of things. We do understand that there are going to be individuals that are not going to be able to access the internet, and we're working on that as we go through that, or device issues. But again, if that's the case for you, if you're in 7 through 12, give us a holler, let us know. We will give you a packet-based book that you can work through in lieu of the online and the virtual opportunities that we have available from 7 through 12. So again, we're not going to leave anybody out. We understand that with the rural community, we understand how that works. And a lot of our activities, even the ones that are based online, we've kept that in mind, knowing that we don't have perfect broadband that's going to run through everyone and going to have perfect service. So again, we're very purposeful with that. That's something that, again, we'll fully admit we're going to adjust as we go along, but we're going to get there together as a family. Reminder how to contact teachers. Just directly through email is the best way. Each one of them should have, again, all of them attempted to make contact with our families last week. And that's one thing that I will bring up and stress again. Please make sure that, I realize I have a habit too of not answering those numbers if I don't know them. Check the voicemail and let us know. Our teachers have tried to make contact, whether it be through email or phone, and we want to make sure that we've contacted all of our families. We're extremely successful with the majority of our families overall. But again, those handful, if you've moved, if your numbers changed, let us know so that way we can track you down and we can make sure to take care of your kids. That's very important to us. And we'll, again, every week we'll be looking to monitor and go through and make that contact and get that feedback about how this plan is actually working with your students directly. So as a parent, some things that as a reminder that's important, and again, this is all in the letter that was mailed home. It'll also, and it's available now on that continuous learning site. You can see the message to parents that you can download now immediately. Develop that routine. And I know sometimes that's difficult as it goes through, but I think of my own kiddos at home as well right now. They're able to get up just like they normally would on a school day. I have them go get dressed. Not that it's not fun to stay in pajamas all day, unless it's a dress-up day, and that's what it is. But encourage them to develop that same routine that they would. Have them their workspace if possible, where they can kind of go through that. And again, just kind of go through. If you need some help, or your teachers would be glad to kind of assist you with what that day should look like as it goes through. Keep in mind that this is a 2-week packet that's going home with you. Do not sit down and go through all of this in one setting. That would be, although some of you may be able to and your students can, again, I would not advise that. The way that this is set up is incremental and go through. It allows for that flexibility. Maybe, and again, life comes up. We have appointments. Again, things go on where we may not be able to work on a Monday, but again, we can kind of pick that up on Tuesday. We may need to double up. But again, I would not sit down and try to go through this entire packet in one setting. Again, we want to provide that flexibility, but this is a 2-week continuous learning plan. This is cycle number 1, 2 weeks. So keep that in mind as you go through this and you look at the activities, plan accordingly, space it out, and let them go through. And I promise you, we'll get to the end. As I said, we'll adjust and we'll make it even better for our second cycle and our third cycle. Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm covering everything. I'm going to pause because I've got a couple things I want to finish with, but I want to see what's kind of been in the chat and kind of address that. So give me a minute. I'm going to scroll back up to the top. Let's see here. Just a lot of people that have joined. All right, my first question that I can see right now is looks like food summer. We're still determining that. That's something that we're gonna see if we will continue the food service throughout the summer. I know that there's been a lot of interest in that. One of the things that we may do is reach the community and let us know your feedback and see what you guys think. Again, we want to be able to service and have this, but there would be probably a tipping point. Again, not that we wouldn't want to serve just a handful of families. That's very important. However, when you look at the logistics and then the manpower that go into it, there'd probably be a number that we'd want to get to that we would need to be able to continue that program. And so we'll be in contact. I think it's something that we've already discussed and looked at. We'll definitely look at continuing it as we go through. But there are going to be days just like this one for Good Friday where we won't be able to deliver. However, I know Monday was a PD day. That is what was scheduled, but we will deliver on that day as we go through. Let's see here. That's good to hear that students are excited to begin their learning. We're excited for them to get that. And again, as a reminder, that's going to go out on our delivery routes. It'll be available underneath the high school for pickup. It'll also be on our drive-through. So if you normally come through the drive-through to get your food, it'll be there as well. And then again, tomorrow, I would probably say by noon, all of those links will be active where you can download it immediately. You're going to get a packet that's going to be pre-K 6 for the elementary, but you can go there specifically and just get your grade. Again, you got coffee that spills on it, whatever it may be, you'll be able to download it immediately. Let us know, and again, we'll take care of that and get that to you. Again, the high school is a little bit different. Make sure you're checking your emails and going through that. We've got some alternative routes. And then, as I said again, for those who do not have the good access to the internet or have zero reliability or none at all, we do have that packet-based availability for the junior and senior high school as well. If students don't remember their login information, that's a great email to pupnation@caney.com. We can get that information and send that to them. And again, that's something that we can take care of. And so if for some reason they don't quite remember their login, if it's specific to a program, especially if it's elementary, your teacher would be your best route, first and foremost. Again, pupnation@caney.com. We're going to get it to the right person. So we may forward it to a teacher to have them take care of. But if you have any questions whatsoever, that's a great one to go to. I know another one that I saw pop up that's already gone, I can't see it anymore, was again graduation. we're not giving up on that yet. The reality is there's too many things that could change, and we just don't know where we're going to be in another month. And so we want to make sure that we wait for as long as possible to see, again, if there's some loosening with groups or sizes or whatever it is. We're going to do everything that we can to make the celebration as special as possible. But again, we're not going to cancel at this point until we and see what we can put together. Same way with prom, those things of that nature. I know it's getting close, but again, until we know definitively, until we really don't want to cancel overall, we're just going to look at postponing. It'll look very different. There's no doubt it's going to look different as it goes through, but we want to make sure that we can at least attempt that as we. Let's see here. I had a question about Ms. Carrender. What about those who need to drive? I'm not sure. Maybe give me some clarification if you can expand on that just a little bit. I'm not. Let's see here. Maybe driver's ed. I'm gonna hop on and say driver's ed there. If that's wrong, it needs to be addressed regardless. But for driver's ed, again, we just can't do that right now based on CDC guidelines. Being in an enclosed space with someone for more than 15 minutes is against their current guidelines. So to load up a kid to drive and then for maybe 10, 12 minutes by the time we get buckled and safe, and there's just no way right now. So we'll look at how we're going to take care of that when things actually open up. We'll probably have some extended hours over the summer or maybe even the beginning part of fall. But again, we'll address that and take care of it for those that are in driver's ed. But the reality is right now with guidelines, there's just nothing that we can do with current CDC guidelines to be able to continue that. Yeah, so that was driver's ed. Any other general questions, things that are out there? And again, if you threw one up early, please throw it back on because it goes away for me. But again, if you've got any generic questions, otherwise, I'll encourage you, again, watch for the letter that was mailed home. It is also available for download currently right now. That's the pinned site that's on the comment that you can go to right now and download that message that was mailed home to every family. So again, you'll see that. Some of you may have gotten it yesterday. Some of you, it may be Monday. Or we're running slow, it may be Tuesday, but that's available right now for download. It's on the site. Keep in mind those packet links are not active. They will not be active until tomorrow. So again, if you're clicking around or trying to click on pre-K, it's not active right now. It will be tomorrow. Tomorrow starts that continuous learning. I don't want anyone, I know we're all excited, but I don't want anyone to get a jump start on that yet because I knew if I had the links active right now that by tomorrow morning, some of you would already say, hey, I'm the first one to be done. Which is great. I know there's a lot of enthusiasm out there. I know my kids are excited. I know a lot of students have given us feedback and are ready for it. But again, those will be active tomorrow. So don't sit there and click outside the letter, which is available now. We haven't heard anything yet on yearbooks yet. When that does come in, again, we will mail those. So we will take care of that at the elementary. Same way with pictures. Those things will be taken care of and be sent through there. Any final questions before we close for this evening? I know I've got some homemade bread and a beef stew waiting on me, so I'm ready to go home and grab some dinner before this evening. Seniors, yes, if your student did not get contact from their teacher yet, please have them email them directly. Or again, they should be making contact with you shortly. So again, seniors are very important. Reach out, make sure we've got some things we've got to cross off and take care of. But again, please contact your teachers directly. Just give them a quick email and they'll be able to answer directly back with you. And we'll get you squared away on that. Yeah, your book will be the same thing as pictures. When those come in, we'll probably mail those. Will be our best route. Let's see here. Again, if sometimes, depending on your availability or where your internet is, feel free to watch this later as you go through the video and upload to our YouTube channel. Look for that information to come out later on this week about that specifically, where those teachers, again, will be uploading those activities for students to kind of follow along on. And so we're excited to kind of unveil that and utilize that as a possibility as well. Tomorrow morning, keep an eye out for Mr. Traxton. Again, morning announcements have been a great new addition this year to Lincoln Elementary and something he wants to continue. So tomorrow morning, he's going to be doing his own Facebook Live and talking about morning announcements with them as well. We're going to be looking into some things, again, to try to stay connected. If there's things that we should be doing or you've got feedback, again, let us know. This is unprecedented for all of us. We're doing our best as we go through this. I've been, again, overwhelmed from the support of the community and all those around. But again, we're not perfect. So let us know, help us out. We're going to adjust. We're going to make sure that we do everything that we can to address all the needs of our kids here in Caney. So any final comments, questions? Let's see here. Email, school's email. The student's email that they have, the Gmail, is just a simple. So as long as they go through and it'll be their standard Gmail, and at caney.com is the only difference. So it's just, if you go to gmail.com and then just have them log in there, that'll be their school email. Again, if they don't have that or they can't remember how to get on, pupnation@caney.com, and we'll get that information to you. That way they can get there. All right, any final thoughts? Going once, going twice. All right, in closing, I've got my little final thoughts here that I'm going to go, and then I'm going to remember it's an unprecedented time, and we're being called to do an unprecedented task, but I promise you that we are up to the challenge. If any school work, I have no doubt it is ours. There is no place that I would rather be going through a situation like this than right here in Caney. It's an amazing opportunity for our family to grow, support one another, and have an amazing time to be compassionate to our fellow human beings. And I'd encourage you to do that, to go through that. That, again, grace and flexibility to everybody, to your students as they try to attempt this tomorrow, to you as parents and guardians as you try to work through this, to us as educators, to the entire community. That's going to be important as we go through to make sure that we remain Caney strong and in this together as a family. We know it's caused stress to each and every one of you. If there are things that we can help out outside of school, again, that's what pupnation@caney.com is for. Please let us know. That is something we sincerely mean. It's not just about the standards and completing and all that. There's so much more going on right now that we want to be able to help with. We've always done that. It's not just about reading, writing, and arithmetic, as the old saying goes. We want to focus on the whole child and on everyone in this community to make sure that we survive this together and that we come out it even better on the other side. And again, finally, just a sincere thanks to the entire Pup Nation as we go through this, to the entire Bullpup family. Caney, everyone here has been extremely supportive. Let me know what we can do to do better. Again, we strive to do that day in and day out. Appreciate you taking the time here on a Sunday. Have a good evening.